Well, hey everybody, we are back and watching episode 2 of season 2 with Arcane, and it is Romania and her bro.
Yo.
Yes! So, last episode was pretty fun. Enjoyed it. Neither of us have watched ahead, obviously, to see what's going to happen. There's only 8 episodes in this second season, so it's going to be, I have a feeling that it's going to go by really fast, and I'm sure nothing bad will happen. My brother's like, I'm sure things will be fine. Look, V is now part of the squadron going after Jinx. I'm sure that they'll just meet up, have a great conversation, talk everything out, and there'll be no bad repercussions whatsoever, because V's also with her partner in this. They couldn't do anything for drama's sake, right? Right. But anyway, the only comment I have from episode 1 is from Alexandra Q, who pointed out that the fact that season 1, we started arc 1 with Zaun's point of view, and then followed their struggles, and now we start season 2 with Piltover's point of view, is really cool. Even if those things only happen because we're following V. So I thought that was a cool comment to bring up, the kind of juxtaposition of where we're starting at. Because last time when we started, we did start with...
Well, we were also starting with V's perspective in that. She had Powder, Milo, and the fourth member following her into Piltover in order to steal from Jayce.
Yes. So it's like we kind of get V's like entire perspective all over again, only it's in the future, it's now, and we get a whole different mindset with it. So we haven't touched on Ekko, we haven't touched on Heimerdinger, we don't really know. Someone shared in the Discord today, it was a picture of Victor, and it was like when your character's having development when they're a sourdough starter. It was like just them with the face. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, so we still haven't gotten to Jinx yet at all. I haven't seen Jinx at all or anything like that. We saw little hints of the wolves and Singe, right?
Singe.
Yeah, we got them with the wolves last episode, but that's all we got. So I'm pretty excited to see what we go. This episode's called Watch It All Burn. I don't feel like that's going to be... I feel like, that seems... Watch it all burn, like we're going to have some s'mores and a fire and just a fireside chat. It's going to be real fun. Nothing bad is possibly going to happen. Right? Right, bro? Anyway, I'm super excited. I hope you all are as well, but we're not going to waste any more time. We're so excited to dive into this. These episodes feel shorter, though. Like, this one says it's 40 minutes long. I feel like last year or 2 years ago with season 1, the episodes were at least an hour. But I could be wrong. Maybe they just seemed longer, and the pacing is going by really, really quickly.
I think they had longer dialogues, and that's what kept it going so long.
Maybe more setup. And now it's like we know who the characters are, so...
I mean, you had Silco describe what real power is like 50 times. It was almost like Uncle Ben with great responsibility.
Silco is the dark Uncle Ben. Instead of great responsibility, it's great power. I love that. That's great. Yeah, I feel like maybe in season 1, we had to do a lot more setup with the characters, especially if you don't play League of Legends and you don't know who these characters are. They needed more time to get the audience to know who they are, and now that we're there, we can kind of keep the pace going. Well, this episode's longer than the last one, so at least there's that. So we're not going to waste any more time, y'all. We are going to get started with episode 2 of season 2 with Arcane. I'm so excited, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Okay. All right. We need to go back to the... Did Victor just become my favorite character in the span of 2 seconds?
I think so.
Ah! Oh, we have things to talk about. We have lots of things to talk about. Lots of things to talk about in this. Okay. So, you like Victor, right? Nodding emphatically.
Victor was one of the first champions I played.
Oh, I was gonna say, the way Victor looks now, with the mage, with the robe, and the mage, staff and everything, and the whole, organic material, like that looks up your alley. That looks like a character that the moment he came out and had like the body morphed, I was like,
he looks different than the end game.
Okay. And so that means he may change a little bit more. We don't know. That there could be more changes on the way. But I'm not surprised that you played as his character at all. I'm a big mage person. I like me a wizard and a mage. And I'm like, he just became Arcane Jesus in like the span of 3 seconds. Oh, okay. So we need to go through this chronologically because there's some fun to talk about. The scene with Sylph or with Silco and Jinx. Like the opening scene with like the reverse baptism where she lets him go. I mean, it's so good. It's so good. This season is doing really good with the visuals and like it's doing really good with just the visuals and telling the story without having to tell us anything. Like her hair wrapping and coiling around him. Okay, before we even get to the kid, that is bad news central. I don't get good vibes with this small child and Jinx. At all. I get not good vibes. Do you get good vibes? No! Jinx is barely able to keep a hold of herself. She is capable of taking care of herself now. That is it. She should not be responsible for a small child. Something bad is going to happen to that kid. That kid is going to die, and Jinx is going to go off the deep end, or worse, that kid's going to be impacted by her bad decisions, because she literally is taking on the role of Silco again. Did you not think that? Mm-hmm. It felt like her mannerisms, the way that her facial expressions were, the lackadaisy, like, oh, hey, kid, I'm a wanted criminal. Like, everything about it was very gentle, but also very parental and kind of like a weird, like, it was just like Silco.
Well, yeah, she was in that position before, running from people that were trying to hurt her.
Yes.
Ran into his arms.
Yes. And he saved her, but then we saw what that did. And it's like, I'm like, girl, do you not see the pair? I'm sure Jinx thinks that she could do this kid some good, teach him the real world and how that is.
Tried to send her off, but then the little girl came back and saved her.
But she didn't send her off again. Instead, she was like, this is how much fun killing people is. And I'm like, don't teach this small child that! No! And I get it. I get that, it's in Zaun. It's the underworld. Things are shitty there. And it's one of those, like, dog eat dog.
The kid was already grave robbing.
It's true. The kid was grave robbing. I keep tilting over to get the stuff. Yeah. But I'm like, it seems like one of those cycles of violence, like intergenerational trauma. Like, girl, you are a drug addicted, very messed up person. You don't need to be influencing a kid who seems like they're halfway well off. I don't think it's going to end well at all. And if Vi finds out that she has this kid, Vi's going to be like, the fudge are you doing? Like, no. But I don't see good things happening with this kid at all. I feel like this kid is going to be a curse. But I do love the scene where she lets Silco go. It's beautiful. The animation is great. Like, this being the opening scene, it's so, so good. Like, I didn't want to talk about much with episode 1. I know a lot of people... Season 1 of Arcane is really good. And I really, really like it. I like season 2 more already. I like it more already. And everybody was in the comments being like, it's like the... I don't like using the word masterclass, because that makes it seem like it's the end-all, be-all good. Like, season 1 of Arcane is solid. It's solid. It's really good. Is it the best thing I've ever seen? I don't know. It's there's nothing bad about it, and I guess that's why people are so hyped about it.
I count it as up there.
Yeah.
There were times where it could have been improved.
Yeah.
But it's still like a timeless piece. It's
leagues above other adaptations of video game contents, if you will.
Well, it's not that difficult.
Right? The bar is pretty low.
Have you seen a majority of the video game adaptations?
I know. I guess that was my thing, was that everybody was really hyping it up, being like, it's the best thing since sliced bread. And I'm like, it's solid. It's good. It's going to stand the test of time, I feel. And I feel like it's timeless in a lot of ways. It's not the best show I've ever seen, but considering how low the bar is for video game adaptations, I think that's why people are like, it's basically the second coming of animation Christ compared to those. But I mean, it was good. But I already like season 2 much better. I think that they've established the characters, they've built in a lot of the themes. So now, once you have the themes and the characters established, and we know the plot and the world building, you can kind of go crazy with it. And you can do these really cool, intricate, symbolic things like this opening scene, and it just it adds so much more to it. I love it. I love this opening scene so much. It's great. So yeah, we'll skip the intro. But oh my god. So this flashback, I wanted to go back to these characters that are around. What were you saying? These are all
Those are the Chem-Barons.
The Chem-Barons. So they're like the drug lords of the underground.
Yeah,
essentially.
All the chaos happened. Vander was gone. Chaos happened. Silco stepped in. He got them all under control. And now we're seeing the timeline of 3 of them getting killed off, starting with the guy with the golden jaw.
Okay, so I was so focused on this. So behind Silco is what's-her-face that was working with Vander, right? His right-hand lady. She was behind him the whole time. And so she was watching him and all his schemes and everything. The gold jaw man we saw in the last season.
He wanted her to join him and knock Silco off the throne.
Yes.
Just for her to kill him.
Yeah, so we saw him go down, and then we just saw the mom go down in the last episode.
But if you look, it goes him, Silco, and then the mom.
And then her, yeah. So it goes in order in which they've all fallen. And now we have the cat rat, the hairless cat. What?
He was a yordle.
He was a yordle. Oh, he was like a little gremlin yordle is what he looked like. Because he was all addicted to the drugs and was all gnarled and everything. This is what tanning every day will do to you. Too much sun damage.
It needs to be Heimerdinger. This is your brain.
This is your brain!
This is your brain on drugs.
This is your brain on drugs. Yeah, no, Smeech. What's his name? Schmeech?
Yeah.
What an underling name. Smeech. Yes, Smeech is basically Heimerdinger on drugs. Yes. Okay, so we saw the gold jaw man. Yeah. He goes, and then we see Silco go. Yep, and that scene there happens. And then we just saw her go from the last episode. And now they're all looking around, so we have...
And if you pause it, this is showing, like, where their expertise is.
Where their expertise is. So we have this man...
It's factory work.
So factory work, the man that has, like, the old man features on him. He reminds me of his whole demeanor in Bleach. The one... Is it Baragon in Bleach? The one that's the big skeleton? That's like...
Who sits on the throne.
Yes, the Arankar. He reminds me of Baragon. He reminds me a little bit of him. Just in his demeanor and like, kind of like, I'm above it sort of attitude. But he's in charge of the factories. All right. And then we have a Smeech who's in charge of...
Like, chemical and weaponry.
Yes, chemical. And he keeps like snorting up all of the shimmer. Yeah. He keeps snorting the shimmer. I thought for a second that was Jinx because the lighting made the hair look blue and the eyes look red. And I was like, when did Jinx get the little dots on her head? But no, she's got this like dominatrix.
And like, what are they attacking right there?
Well, these guys from the old man are attacking her women. Is what it looks like. It looks like they're all ganging up and beating up her ladies.
Okay, then that means she would run like the red light district.
Well, they're all in fetish gear, so red light district sounds about right. Yeah. I love her design with like the leek colored hair, the green and the white hair. Yeah. And she has like the big eyebrows and the bleached hair. I love her design. It's great. And they're all trying to get on the throne that Silco left behind. And they're all fighting for the pieces left over. Okay. Again, I really like this scene because we could have a bunch of exposition that just is telling us all this, or we could show these images and you piece it together and figure out what's going on.
Which is kind of the opposite of Piltover right now. Right now, they're pretty much all in together that they need to catch the Jinx, they need to stabilize everything. Mm-hmm. These guys are, hey, I want that chair.
Yeah, because in Piltover, there's not really a chair. So there's not really, in Piltover, it's like they're all scattered about trying to place blame on one person. And Jinx is the one person. Meanwhile, they're all fighting over one chair. But they can't all have it. So it's like, clearly right now, Piltover is kind of in the favorable position because they can all solidify. At the moment, now, Jinx has got Silco's right-hand lady with her now.
And she brought up a good point earlier. Mm-hmm. All the fights that they've had with Piltover have been up top. Yeah.
Piltover's not come down there.
Their enforcers are not used to that underground. They're not used to all those gases, the narrow alleys.
Mm-hmm. The whole stealth scene, which we'll probably touch on but not get too into it because it was pretty... That was the only scene that felt kind of stalled. I was just sitting there like... Which that's the whole point. You're supposed to feel like... I was like, come on, something happened. And then you were just sitting there like waiting for something to happen. And you said it was like a video game when you're playing it.
I hate those stealth missions, having to wait till they turn around.
Yeah, it felt like a video game where you're waiting for them to turn around and then you can sneak past them. I feel like that scene was shown to us to demonstrate how hard it's going to be to fight down there, because you've got all the gear and stuff on, and it's so bulky, and there's not, and it's all enclosed and claustrophobic.
And as you saw from their point of view, their eyesight is like narrowed.
Oh yeah,
they can't see like right next to them. They could breathe just fine, but as soon as they find a way around that fog, like those chem soldiers that are already breathing in chemicals.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at your range of vision is so limited versus the people fighting down there. If they can get unified, then my only thing is, do you think Jinx is going to try to unify them?
Oh no.
That's my thing.
She is anarchy all the way.
She's anarchy. And so I'm like, I don't know, because I think Piltover, they could get unified on a front and be dangerous. So my thing is, if Jinx is anarchy and isn't going to organize, then what's going to be the unifying factor for Zaun to get them to be unified to go against Piltover? That's the big question. For me, anyway. If she's chaos and anarchy and she's not going to be a leader.
Probably going to be exposing that group down there. Being like, hey, look, Piltover's already invading us. Yeah.
It could be. Well, yeah, if they expose them down there and just say they're already there, then that could unify the people without them necessarily. Usually, though, they need like some kind of leader, so I don't know if... Well, what is her name that worked with Xander? She was the one that got the new arm. I forget her name. She could technically be it, because she was kind of doing the job, sort of, with Silco beforehand. I just can't see Jinx as a leader. I can't see her unifying anybody.
Oh, now that girl's got the jackpot arm.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so she
could force them.
She could. So we'll see where that... And then you have where Victor fits into all this as like the third... Victor is a third party. It's like you have Jayce and Piltover, you have Zaun, and then you have Victor over here being literal Jesus and saving people. I want Victor and Heimerdinger and Ekko to get together. I want that.
I think it's leading him, because remember the tree, it was getting corrupted by magic, and Victor was being led to a source.
So is the tree, is it magic that's corrupting it?
The hex core, the corruption the plants of the hex core was touched is the exact same as the corruption happening to the tree.
Okay.
Meaning that there's not a big thing, like a concentrated source like the hex core.
Right.
But there's some kind of source.
There's some kind of source there. So, do you think that Victor is going to use whatever he has in the hex core and his magic to help the tree, or is it going to lead him to the tree?
I think it's leading him to whatever is causing problems for the tree, and just like the hex core, he may absorb it.
He could absorb
and it may further his change.
Yeah. So, yeah, because if he finds the source and he's like, I'm going to absorb this to save everybody, and then he could reach his Frieza final form, whatever that looks like. That could be. I talk about it, but I do like the idea of Jinx walking through here, and of course there's like all these kids being targeted and everything, which kind of ties back to her, and you know, when she lost Vander and all of that, and then there's this kid. Is it a boy or a girl, do you think?
I think it's a little girl.
I think it's a little girl too. Yeah. That's there. And then I liked her walking through, like, you get the red light district soldiers there, and then the guy that looked like the gentleman's club playing golf there.
Yeah, that's those two, the guy and the girl.
Yes.
Their forces.
Mm-hmm. My thing with Jinx is, I mean, I love Jinx's character, and I like how she's imitating Silco a lot in this. She's not Silco, but she's imitating him quite a bit. Like, yeah, especially the scene where she first meets the kid. Like, all the mannerisms with the gun and the eyes and everything is so much like Silco. But I'm like, you're not Silco. Like, she's not. She's trying to be in this moment. But I'm like, but you're not Silco. And this kid is not you. So, I feel like it's all going to blow up because why would we not want to give Jinx the most angst and terrible, horrible tragedy that we can, but have this, like, blow up in her face with the kid? I don't know. What's interesting to me is that Jinx walks past all the blowing up and everything, and I'm like, I feel like Jinx tries to be above it or say that she's separate from all this that's going down, but I'm like, you're part of it, whether you want to think you are or not. you're just as corrupt as they are. And I feel like she's a little self-righteous. A little bit. I feel like she tries to say she's above it and she's not part of the violence, but I'm like, you're literally corrupting this kid. Like you were corrupted by Silco.
Well, we don't know what her plans are yet. Her only plans right now is just let things burn.
Right, but I'm like, but you're letting the things burn that kid is a part of. So it's one of those things like, if you don't act at all, isn't that just as bad as acting? I feel like it's one of those scenarios. Her doing inaction is just as dangerous and harmful as trying to take a stand and doing something else. And I feel like whatever happens to this kid is going to make Jinx take a stand and do something. Because I think that she's going to get attached to this kid and see herself in the kid. And children in stories are bad because something bad usually happens to the kid. I just don't see anything good happening with this child. The moment that kid came around, I'm like, no. This is bad. Get out of here. This ain't Dororo. I'm not that far into Dororo, but from what I've seen, I was like, you look like a little innocent scamp, and this Jinx looks like they're... Especially if you just walked around saying, I kill everyone that's near me, why would you put this kid near you?
Not everybody who near me dies.
I'd send that kid far away. I'd be like, hey, kid, I don't want you to die.
She's not going to tell that kid what to do. She was bossed around a lot by everybody.
And that's part of it, too. She was bossed around. And she makes the point of saying that that Vi and Silco bossed her around and she hated it. But I'm like, I wonder if her with this kid, I wonder if it's going to get to a point where the kid, something bad's about to happen and Jinx is like, you need to leave. And then the kid's like, don't boss me around. And Jinx has this realization of, oh, that's why they were doing it. Because they were trying to protect me. Oh, and it's like, and then it's, is it going to be too late or is it going to be enough for her to realize I'm doing the exact same thing they were doing? I don't know. I feel bad for this kid. This kid looks like, I'm just like, I like Jinx as a character a lot. I love the Silco imitation they're doing it, but it's Jinx. But I'm like, girl, you should not be near a child. Just makes me so scared. So yeah, then we have, I love the design of Smeech. Smeech's design is amazing. I love it. It looks like a gnarled, like little cat with its gnarled teeth and everything. Yordle, Heimerdinger on drugs. I love it. It looks like the Crypt Keeper's hairless cat. It's amazing. I love all of its design. It's great. So they go into the one woman's lair. That's just her head, literally. And what is this thing? That they didn't tell us, did they?
No, that was them.
Was it?
Remember, they were using the gas.
Okay, so it was the group of them.
Yeah.
In that moment. But my thing that was a little confusing to me was they show, because it's like, but it's a group, like, I don't think, is it them? Like, that doesn't look like the group that went and saw Jinx.
That's because he's looking through the gas.
So that's supposed to be the group?
Remember how they looked when Jinx first saw them?
But there was like multiple people. Like that just looks like a monster with all the waves and stuff.
They're in an enclosed space.
Fine. I'll believe you. It just looked like a monster.
And Jinx has enhanced eyesight due to the drugs.
That is true.
So she'd be able to see a little bit better in the gas.
Okay. My question was, when Smeech shows back up, does that mean the rest of them are all dead and they were killed by...
No, because we saw that guy later.
Yeah, so then what was the...
He ran out, informed them that there was a monster in the gas, and they took their sorry hides and ran.
It just seemed so abrupt. It felt like there should have been more there, but I guess...
You think he's going to pick a fight with an unknown creature in a poisonous gas?
I guess not. It just felt really fast that it happened, but that's fine. So then we have them all squabbling over who's going to take over and what they're going to do, and they all want to hand over Jinx and just be like, let's hand her over.
They don't bring it up until Smeech says it.
That
there was another option to get topside off their back.
Okay.
She's talking about unifying and having a front against them.
Against Piltover.
He's saying, hey, let's just hand over the person that they want.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do what Vander didn't do in the very beginning.
And go that route.
And just prevent a whole bunch of bullshit.
And honestly, that's kind of like... I like Jinx's character, but it's like... It's not gonna... The thing that's so hard about it is that, yeah, that would satisfy Piltover, and that would solve them, but then you don't want the drug overlords to keep fighting, but then you don't want bad things to keep happening to Piltover, so it's like...
The only person who wanted to go after Piltover was that lady because she lost her son. The others don't have any problem just staying where they are.
Right. They don't want to mess with Piltover because they know that they've got their own little caches down there. As he says it,
they outnumber them 4-1, and that's even before the casualties they've already suffered.
Right. So they're like, if we just give Jinx over, they'll leave us alone, and they'll let us have our underworld. And we can build
back up.
And we can keep doing what we're doing. Right. And in that case, Piltover, I don't think Piltover would go after them again because they would have their scapegoat and say, here's Jinx, she caused the problem, let's go back to the status quo and just ignore everything. Not that I want them to take Jinx because I think Vi is like, no, my sister. But I definitely, they don't seem to care what happens regardless. And then I really like the scene with her and Jinx, with the woman, because they both, like, again, the way that it's handled is so good. Smeech had a very Jabba the Hutt moment when he was like over her shoulder. Felt very Jabba the Hutt.
Did you see he didn't have his mechanical legs on? So he was walking with his hands.
Oh, yeah! I didn't notice that. It's so, I love his design! All the designs of these characters are so good. Like the mechanical arms and like he like ratchets himself up. He looks like a Ratchet and Clank character. He really does.
He does.
He does look like a Ratchet and Clank character. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. So, but again, this whole scene of them in Silco's room, it's like it's all visual. Like there's her walking by. She's tinkering with her arm, trying to fix it. She walks past all the booze bottles that she's just been drinking over and over again. And she's clearly upset about Silco being dead. Because it's like, I feel in her situation, she thought, well, even though Silco is not a paragon of excellence by any means, he was keeping order somewhat in the underworld.
He was the brains. He had all the plans.
He had the plans. He had the brains. He was keeping everything somewhat under control.
He was the brains. She's the muscle.
Mm-hmm.
He found out whose skull she needed to crack, whose money that she needed to go get.
Yep.
And right now she's trying to be the brains and the brawn.
And that's not her forte.
And now she's learning just how difficult it is just to be the brains.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you don't realize what those people in power do until they're not there, and then when you try to do what they were doing, you're like, oh, this is a lot harder than I thought. I love her throwing the screwdriver at Jinx's hair, and then having this whole, like, the thing with the eye. I thought he was gonna stab her in the eye with that little needle, and I was like, nope, I can't, because it was just like all this, there's a lot of...
That's how he took his medicine.
Yeah, he stabbed his eye with it, right? And I hate people touching others' eyes. I thought there's too much parallels with that this episode. But I love seeing her and this woman back to back, like each of them on either side of Silco's desk with their backs turned. They both respected him. They knew he was corrupt, but they respected him. And now that he's gone, they're like, shit, what do we do? And they're like, it's all kind of... And then she's like, well, what are we going to do? And she's like, well, the world's just going to burn. And again, I'm like, Jinx, not taking action is not necessarily a good thing. She looks so much like Silco there, though. She looks so much like him. Mm-hmm.
And then you see the top of his little hat.
Yeah, the top of his... What did you say? Like, they look like from...
The Hatchet Gang from Kung Fu Hustle.
The Hatchet Gang from Kung Fu Hustle? Yes. Okay, so we think that this is Skye that was screaming to him, right?
Yeah.
Telling him to wake up?
Yeah.
Which makes sense, because she died right before all this went down.
And you see her later on.
Yes.
That's who he's hallucinating.
Yeah. That's leading him. Oh my god.
And he comes out as a beautiful butterfly.
The Bug's Life thing. Yes. Victor shot up. Victor shot up on all scales. I'm like, Victor's great. And anytime you have a glow up, you look around you, you reevaluate, you say, do I need this himbo guy over here? And the answer is no. I didn't want him and Jayce to break up. Our bisexual disaster himbo Jayce. I didn't want them. He was just like, hey, I had a glow up. I might be better off without you. No, he looks so good though. I love how Victor looks. I am totally crushing.
Just before that meeting, Skye gets killed.
Yes.
By the Hex Core.
Yes.
His best friend promises to destroy the thing that killed a woman who loved him.
Yes.
Just to find out that he pretty much just let it just absorb into him. And now he's been mutated.
Yeah, he's like, I was supposed to die, and then Jayce was like, quality of life, quantity of life.
And now Victor's realizing what Heimerdinger was trying to warn them about.
Yeah, because I don't think Jayce gets it. I don't think Jayce gets what Heimerdinger was trying to say. He's like, oh, Heimerdinger was wrong. I was like, well, and Victor's like, I don't know if he was wrong. So I'm like, yeah, because even Heimerdinger's like, oh no, what'd you do? Were you a himbo, Jayce? Did you not think this through, Jayce? And plus, I feel like Victor was like, if I stick around with Jayce, then Mel or somebody is going to try to use me as a weapon. I feel like immediately
he was looking at not only the book, but the blueprint right next to him. The blueprints of the modified mining gloves that are now being used as fist-sized battering rams.
I'm like, Jayce, you disaster himbo! You put the nuclear plans right by the book, and you're like, oh, well, we don't have to do anything now that you're back, Victor. And Victor's like, what are you doing? You're already doing it. Yeah, as soon as he looked down, I was like, Victor is not going to want to be used as a weapon. And I think Victor knows that Jayce has a good heart. And Jayce likes Victor, and they're friends. And he's like, Jayce would never mean Victor to be used. But other people, like we saw last season, have used Jayce to get their agenda going. And Jayce is like, well, gee golly, we'll just keep doing it.
Victor pointed out he's not made for the council.
Right.
He can't deal with the politics.
Yeah.
He's a scientist. He needs all the variables to be present. He needs them to be clear and concise. In politics, that ain't a thing.
No.
Nothing's clear. Nothing's concise.
No. They're oil and water. They don't meddle. And Jayce he's too good-hearted and kind. He can't play the game. So last season he ended up getting played. And I feel like Victor's like, look, we were friends and this was working, but you're not thinking like you should be about this. And he's like, I'm not about to be used as a weapon against people to hurt them. And I think Victor's like, I see the writing on the wall. I'm not being anybody's guinea pig. I got to figure out what I am now and what I can do. And I don't think that this is the right space to go for having a self-discovery adventure.
I died. It's been 3 days. I've come back.
Yeah! He's like, it's been 3 days. I got resurrected. I got this cool-ass outfit and design. I look great. But I need to go and get out of the cave necessarily. Poor Jayce. Jayce is such a himbo. Yeah. And then, literally came out of the Dorian Gray painting. Because, he was talking about how it adapted, and he's like, it's changing and evolving. And he's like, oh, we don't need to stay here because this is not good. He looks so good. Victor looks amazing. And he's like, oh, I did the notes. And he's like, I was supposed to die. Why'd you bring me back? You promised to destroy the hex core. You didn't do what I asked. He's like, oh, well, this is better, see? That look on his face! The look on Victor's face where he's like, oh, no, Heimerdinger wrong. I brought you back to life. Isn't that great? He's just like, oh, God, you didn't listen. You didn't listen. He's like, no. And then he's like, it killed Skye. Yeah. He's like, this is bad. He's like, I'm not going to be used to... Yeah, okay, so then, and then when he goes over there, and there's all that on the wall and everything, and he goes for the book, and then there's all his materials. Because Jayce says he's going to resign from the council, and he's like, I'll go back to the lab with you. And Victor's like, well, I've kind of upgraded from scientist to potential savior, so... I don't know if this... He's like, I kind of have upgraded from scientist to potential savior, so I don't know if this is the place for me anymore.
Nobody tell her.
No, I don't want to know. Shh. Victor's not going to become a secret villain. Surely not.
Nobody say a word.
No! I mean, here's the thing. Could I see them all ganging up against Victor because he has this awesome power and they interpret it as he's a threat? Yes, of course I could. But don't say anything. We'll see. We got 6 more episodes. We'll see what could happen in 6 episodes, right? But yeah, that whole line, it was affection that held us together. Breakup. Just, sinking my ship. Titanic. That line is an iceberg into my Titanic, like, just, iceberg, dead ahead. Jayce and Victor, why? You know that here, look, Vi and Caitlyn, I am fully aware that there's going to be strife between those two because of Jinx. Jinx is going to be the thing that drives Caitlyn and Vi at odds with each other because Caitlyn wants to kill Jinx, but she also knows that Jinx is Vi's sister and knows that Vi still has some things for Jinx because they're siblings, and she's like, what do I do? And so there's going to be conflict there. I know that. I'm aware of that. I'm psychologically, mentally preparing myself for the angst, for the doomed Yuri. I'm ready for it. But you can't tell me that Jayce isn't going to be like, I got to go find Victor. He doesn't know what, I'm going to go do this. They're going to fight. They're going to fight. I know they will. I'm just, dang it. He's too much of a himbo. Yeah. He's like, I never asked for this. And Victor's like, yeah, I know. But I don't have an answer to that. He's like, I got to go do my thing. Poor Jayce. So we have the whole thing with the tree. All the refugees are going there from the city. I like Batman. He's cool. I like Batman's design. And they're figuring out...
Go back.
Okay.
That is the turret Heimerdinger uses in the game.
Oh, the bubble maker is the turret?
Yeah, but it shoots actual projectiles.
We're making it family friendly for this episode.
He's making it family friendly for the children.
Oh, that's actually, I love the idea of Heimerdinger as the ancient old wise man that's trying to like lift everybody's spirits.
He's trying to be Gandalf.
He's trying to be Gandalf. Yeah, he's trying to be Gandalf, lift everybody's spirits. Don't be hasty, Master Pippin. Like, trying to be a good guy. He's so cute. I love Heimerdinger. But yeah, so they figured out that the tree... Now, is it magic on the tree?
It's the same energy from the hex core.
Yeah, because it's the same, like, kind of spongy spider web pattern.
Yeah.
That's on the hex core, but we don't know where that's from.
We don't know where it's coming from.
We don't know where it's coming from.
Somehow, there's something similar to the hex core in that vicinity of Zaun.
That's not dangerous. That's not scary at all. That's not terrifying at all. There's another hex core-like material near them. That's not scary at all. That could challenge Victor. That's not terrifying whatsoever.
Well, not challenge him. Remember, he was following a path.
He was following... So do you think that whatever sky or the vision is, it leading him to that source? And then we think he might absorb it and go into his final Frieza form, possibly?
Yeah.
Okay. But... oh, shit. If he absorbs this source like the hex core, then rather than being seen as a threat, Piltover them could be like, look, Victor, you either come for us and make all these weapons for us as this eternal power source. He's like a plant from Trigun! He would be like a plant from Trigun, right? Possibly?
Possibly.
In Trigun, it's a world building element. I'm not going to spoil exactly what it is, but the plants are a source of power and they're used to build technology. They're kind of like hex cores, but they're living organisms. So if Victor becomes like a hex core, he becomes like a plant, like in Trigun, then they could want to try to like put Victor in a bottle like a genie and use him to make all the weapons. And Jayce will be like, that's my buddy. So that could lead to a whole bunch of problems. I'm onto something, bro. He's looking at me like, you're not connecting the dots. Sure. Okay. So Heimerdinger like, well, I just happened to used to work at a place.
Well, they showed him the effect that it had on plants.
Oh, that's what you're trying to say in the reaction.
Yeah, he remembered what the hex core did to the plants, so he's taking it to the leading expert right now, or in his mind, experts, because he doesn't know what's happened to Victor.
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Okay. And then that's when he figures out that something's gone wrong and Victor's gone, and he's like, oh shit,
Which
wait a
means
minute.
they may try to smuggle Jayce down
back into Zaun.
Where the tree is.
Yeah! Heimerdinger is terrible at keeping secrets!
Well, he's discovered a new lease on life that he didn't have with Jayce. He's like, Jayce, you were a great pupil and stuff, but Ekko here's just a bit more brilliant than you.
I know! When they're like, oh, this is my ex-pupil Jayce, and Ekko was like, oh, so that's the beta model. this is the upgraded. Oh, okay.
And Jayce is just like, so, this is what I've been replaced with.
Yes, and I'm like, I love Ekko. Ekko's design is so cool, and they're such a cool character, but I'm like, yeah, Jayce, you're sweet and all, but like, Ekko's like the cooler version of you. No, I would not be surprised if Jayce, but I don't know. I don't know if Jayce will go with Heimerdinger and Ekko yet because he's got to deal with Mel and all of them. He's not just going to disappear because he's like, I've got to be upstandable and resign from the council and do my duty and blah, blah, blah. But I could see him going later and hanging with Heimerdinger and Ekko. I could see that. And then if they go after Victor, then you've got a group of them going together to go find him and doing so. I could see the threads where it could all come together. Also, Heimerdinger like sneaking around Mission Impossible style, like
I'm 300 years old. Let me have this.
It was very Emperor's New Groove, where he's like, where Kronk's like, da 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 da.
Oh god, he's got his own theme song.
He's got his own theme song. Yeah, exactly.
And
but
he mentions Brambleback out of the jungle. That's the red buff that you get in the jungle.
Oh, okay, so that was just like a little sneaky tie-in.
Yeah, that was a little bit.
I'm just now seeing this contraption that was holding Victor in. Like, it looked like a little status tube, but also, yeah, moisturize me. Look like that whole thing from Doctor Who. That is crazy. And Heimerdinger's like, what have you done? Why have you done these things?
Oh, that's right. Now he's got to explain to him, well, we did the thing that you told us not to do.
I want to see that scene, because this was the last scene we saw of Heimerdinger and Jayce. Be like, okay.
He's lost the jovial tone in his voice.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I'm like, okay, Jayce, well, you're going to be like Heimerdinger.
Even Ekko's looking at that like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah. I'm like, remember that thing you told us not to do above all costs? Remember that thing we were told not to do? That was like the last case scenario. Well, I did it. And now he's walking around. I'm curious if there's been others. Like, is this the origin of the mages? Is this connected to the origin of the mages? And Heimerdinger's going to be like, so this is why we don't do this.
If so, he's going to have a lot of flashback, a lot of PTSD of that.
Oh my god. Because that's the last time we see them in this episode, correct?
Yeah.
And so, of course, Victor sees just how bad everything is.
Well, it's gotten worse. He used to grow up there, and now he's...
Yeah. Oh, hell, he is Jesus. He's going back to his hometown and seeing how bad it's gotten. And now he has a power to like, heal everybody. Oh, no. Don't y'all be crucifying Victor. You leave him alone. You leave him alone. I love Victor so much.
Everybody's looking at him because they see the shiny staff.
Uh-huh. They don't see as amazing as...
And
of course,
stained glass.
The stained glass. We go by like this big, beautiful mural in stained glass. There's like no symbolism at all. No symbolism whatsoever. Now, the guy with the glasses...
That was the guy Vander helped back then.
Yes, okay.
And it was the one that Jinx and Vi met.
Yes.
Who ultimately sold him out for a hit of Shimmer.
Yes, and he got addicted to the Shimmer and became a junkie, and now they're all healed up. Okay. I mean, could you see Singe versus Victor? I could. Because Singe is like doing all the dealings with Shimmer and the drugs.
It doesn't look like he's dealing with Shimmer anymore.
He's upgraded. Oh, something fresh. Something fresher than Shimmer. Yeah, he does look like he's dealing with something else.
I'm not being Breaking Bad anymore. Going back to Frankenstein.
We're going past Walter White. Yeah, but I could see Singe.
I'm the one who gasps.
I am the one who knocks. I'm the one who gasses. I definitely could see Victor with his army of like recovered addicts. Like, Victor's a walking AA meeting. Like, he just goes around healing everybody. I could just see him with his army of healed people versus Singe and his corrupted wolves and like corrupted people. And you have the opposites. You have like purity versus corruption. I know you can't say much. But
I really want to, and you see a few clues in the action in the healing.
Okay. Well, wait. I'm sure it's going to come out. I'm sure we're going to get something in it. Because, okay, well, we'll get to the healing scene. We'll look at that. We'll look at that in a second. But yeah, Victor, walking around, the guy following him. Okay, you were trying to tell me about this. Timo?
He's a Yordle champion.
Okay. With the little blue sprig on his hair, and there's like all the mushroom lights around him. So he's a champion in the game?
Yes. He is loved and hated.
Oh, why?
Because the little bastard likes to hide in bushes, turn invisible, and plant mushroom mines that are also invisible.
That's why the mushroom lights are there.
And when they explode, they not only do a good chunk of damage, but they also poison you.
Ooh.
So his whole thing is, I'm going to shoot poison darts at you and make you run into a group of camouflaged poisonous mines.
Oh, I love it. Yes, please. Yes, please. Okay. All right. Fair enough. Now, I really did not know what the package was at first. Did you know what it was?
I suspected. I mean, she was looking at the arm before, so it was like, I'm seeing how long your arm used to be.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know if she was making another bomb to, like, take to one of the...
Nah, she's done that.
Chem-Barons or not, but yeah, she has done that. So the arm thing, and the fact that she put a bow on it, that is kind of like for her to have. That makes sense.
And I do love the design of the arm.
Oh my god, the arm is incredible. Like, we can pass the stealth mode here. Now, my question with the stealth mode scene is, do you think when she looked down, do you think that she looked down and saw that it was Vi and knows it was her?
I think that the voice in her head kind of told her it was Vi, because you see like Vi's outline with the blue eyes and the shark mouth.
Oh.
So, but it could be like that time she saw that girl.
Oh, and thought it was her, and it was just a hallucination. It's frustrating because they don't really tell us. They don't really. That's the one time they don't really show us what it actually is. Like, did she see her sister and couldn't shoot her because it was Vi, or was it a hallucination? Was she seeing somebody else? It's like the one time they don't give us an answer. We have to kind of just say, well, but then she's really frustrated when she leaves, which makes me think that it was Vi, and she was pissed off about it.
Or she's just pissed off that she saw her.
That could be too. Now, do you think that Caitlyn, do you think she was actually there and Caitlyn had the shot and she didn't take it? Because
Caitlyn's torn between, do I get revenge or do I do my duty?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's kind of like Ida in My Hero Academia.
Oh, yeah.
That's the Stain arc.
That's a really good comparison.
Do I be the hero and bring the villain in, or do I get my personal revenge and just kill him?
Ooh, Caitlyn and Ida as a comparison is really good.
Because as you see right there, she does the headshot, but it was out of frustration over the fact that she couldn't pull the trigger.
Yes, and she did, reminding her of the past when she couldn't do it either. Oh, good.
She had the shot.
She had the shot, yeah, and she didn't take it. See, that's my fear, is that there's going to come a point where V is like, don't take the shot, and she's like, if I don't, it's going to keep, like, this was the second time, so it's like, is it the third time going to be a charm? And what if she takes the shot and it hits the kid? Oh, what if she does that?
In the game, her ultimate is she lines up a shot and it, like, follows the person you're aimed at, you choose. Uh-huh. But anybody can get in the path
of it and get hit instead. That's what's gonna happen. She's that because I feel like, what would be the angstiest thing? Well, we know Jinx and Vi, they're sisters, so they're not gonna hurt. At the end of the day, they're not gonna want to hurt each other. But if Jinx gets attached to this kid, and then Caitlyn makes the shot to Jinx, and the kid that's attached to Jinx gets in the way and gets killed,
it's gonna break her.
It's gonna break her.
Even more.
Yep. And then Vi is gonna be like, the fudge, and Caitlyn's gonna be like, I shot the kid. It's gonna be chaos. The wheels are turning. Oh no. Get the kid away! Tell them to leave. We don't need little kids in shows like this. Dark shows don't need little kids. It's always a bad idea. Nothing good comes of it. No. Okay. I do like the animation where they have, like, her eyes being so red. And then what's this guy eating this little octopus, like calamari?
Well, do you not remember what Caitlyn or Vi had when she first took Caitlyn down there? She had, like, the octopus tentacles and, like, the gruel.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Seafood is like their big
oh, because they're
next to the sea.
Mm-hmm. Damn. This whole action scene between her and Jinx with the new arm and all that was so good. It was so good.
Then you got him doing that little spider crawl down the pipe.
Oh my god, I can't do the eye motion, the eye part. That was just too much. No. Her whole thing, and then Jinx giving her the arm. Oh my god. I freaking love the arm.
Got a flamethrower and a chomp.
The chain chomp hand, and the Splatoon paint coming off of it, and the jackpot that you can get, and all that.
Well, she made it out of the parts from their old little
from the arcade. Yeah, that's what she was working on from the arcade, making the parts and pieces. Now, to be fair, even though aesthetically that arm looks amazing and it's badass, do you know how annoying that would be to wear it all day long? You know how annoying that would be?
Do you know how intimidating it is to have somebody with a arm that acts like a rabid animal?
That is true. That is true. But I'm thinking, like, I would personally be like, it's time to take you off. Like, put you down for a minute. Now, I do like the fact that the grenade came back into play. Like, we saw the grenade go out of focus and then it came back. Like, the fight scenes in this series, like, they leave no stone unturned. It's like, we're just gonna, everything is gonna have a purpose and everything is gonna tie together. I love the smoke. I love the 2D smoke coming with it. I'm like, Jinx is killing people left and right. Like, girl is... And see, this poor kid is learning bad lessons from Jinx. Bad lessons. Jinx is not a role model. She's a messed up girl that needed some therapy long ago. But she's not a good role model.
And he's got blenders.
I like the blender arms, yes. Yeah. I love... Yeah, and then Jinx telling her how to use the jackpot part of the gun. Arm. I love it. With the Gatling, yes.
Grapple.
The grapple, thank
grapple
you.
Hook.
And then, that would be annoying.
It plays her theme song.
The speakers playing the theme song would be annoying as hell. I'd be like, oh no, God, this thing.
Well, the thing is, that's Jinx's theme song.
Oh, it's not even her own, it's Jinx's. That's insane.
Well, that's the song they played during Jinx's trailer when she was first revealed.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that is. And then
And
the Acme punch inside of it. Oh my God. I don't know how they're going to deal with her, like in the show with the crazy arm. I don't know who's going to go. I mean, obviously Vi has the gauntlets, but I don't know if they're going to be able to go up against that. Or if Jayce is going to have to do it. I don't know. I'm curious to see what we get. And then she's like, she sends it right back at Smeech because he threatened her.
Ninja stars.
The ninja stars. Ninja stars, smoke, flamethrower, the grappling.
Mist.
The mist. It's all so good. And then, yeah, when they all line up together. Now, what happens when they all line up for the smile?
She pretty much just mauls
him, yeah.
The thing becomes Chain Chomp.
Yeah, basically. But this poor kid, I'm like, no. Yeah, because Jinx is like, oh, look, my thing went together. And the kid
Jackpot.
Yeah.
And it just rips him to pieces.
Like, Jinx is messed up, and so, but I'm like, don't encourage this poor kid to be messed up too.
And fireworks.
The fireworks! It's like, there is nothing stealthy about this arm. This arm is the opposite of stealth. It is like just announcing your presence.
She's a brawler.
Right, but...
She's not supposed to be sneaky.
No, but it's like, yeah, just announcing presence. But yeah, and then of course, she couldn't let Jinx die because Silco cared about her. Mm-hmm. Now, Jinx is all about wanting to fix things, and then they don't work out. The irony is, any chance she has to fix the situation, she's not doing. She's like, nope, never mind. I'm not going to go that route.
Well, this is the first thing she's actually technically fixed.
Watch it, like, completely backfire at some point, and then it'd be like, womp womp. Okay, so then we have... Now, okay, it led Victor to this archway, right?
Yeah.
Have we seen that archway before?
That was where the building collapsed from buying Caitlyn's thing.
Okay, so it was back when Vi and Caitlyn and then went there the first time and it collapsed, and that was what was left.
When that guy sold him out to Silco.
Yes. Okay. I was going to say, this looks familiar, this area. And it's all there, but... Okay. So I want to go to the scene where he... Now, okay. There's all the bolts coming up.
They're coming up, and where are they going?
Oh, are they going inside of him? Like metal? Like merging into be metal? Oh, like they're like welding together to him. Oh, so all of that is metal that's like infused into him.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's how they could fight. They're all infused with metal now. Oh. You just like arc welded them back together. He didn't even get certified with his welding degree. How can he? You're a fraud, Victor.
They're the Cybermen.
They're the Cybermen! Oh my god, they are! No, but and then like, oh. Yeah, because it's all metal there now. Oh, interesting. So, okay. Okay. And Victor's like, just another day on the job.
And
but
of course, perform the miracle in front of the vagrants who have given up on hope.
Well, yeah, I mean, Victor is literally, a little sweat going down his forehead. Oh, but then this brings up questions too, like, if Victor heals these guys and does all that, like, and then they end up, he's like, I don't want you guys to suffer anymore, but then what if they take their healed bodies that are infused with this metal and end up fighting back and causing pain to others? Then it's going to be like, well, did you do the right thing? Is that going to be part of his lesson to be like, but the vision of Sky tells him this is the thing to do.
Well, it's not that. It's the fact that he grew up with the bummed leg, being seen as, like, crippled, weak, and here are these people suffering the same way.
So he's like, I could heal you in ways I couldn't be healed from in the past. I love the idea of the story where Victor, who's had this debilitating disease and has been plagued, is now, like, has this chance to be this powerful mage that can, like, exceed all of that. Like, I love that, but I'm like, oh, buddy, it's not gonna be an easy route for you. Interesting. I mean, that looks pretty. The tents, the bell, the mosaic.
And look where he's sitting. He's sitting right under the light.
Oh, yeah, that was like the
dark
big
cavern.
I mean, symbolism 101, right? So then, meanwhile,
Dr. Frankenstein.
Dr. Frankenstein, we have Jesus versus Frankenstein as he's, like, splitting all these cells. Like, what is the first thing we saw was that the body of a wolf. Yeah, like the wolf body. So he's, like, he's got their eyeballs, their teeth.
And then he's got a heart hooked up to a chem plant, keeping it alive.
Oh my god. So it's like you have on one end the hex core keeping Victor alive using the magic and the power of welding everything. And then on the other end you have the chemicals. He's trying to engineer his own, like, nega hex core with the chemicals. Oh no. Oh no.
It's more like he's creating another champion.
Yeah. I mean, he's making something, obviously. I thought, you don't have to answer this question, I thought maybe he was going to do something to himself, kind of like what's happened to Victor, but we'll see.
No, there's a bit of his lore involves another champion.
Okay, I don't want to know the lore, because I know that they're going to show us that, right? They're clearly building up to showing us that, so we'll find that out. But I'm here for Victor. I'm so here for it. Yes. I'm so here for it. I liked the episode a lot. That was great. So, final thoughts. I'm going to give that a good solid 9.5 out of 10.
Now we got to see what episode 3 is going to bring us, because now we've had just about everybody.
Yeah, we basically have had everybody reintroduced, right?
So, yes. Yeah. So now we just need a wrap up of the first part of what's going to happen with where's Caitlin and them at with their investigation. Heimerdinger's reaction to Victor's metamorphosis.
And the thing is, like, you have 3 acts. The end of your first act is you introduce all the characters and you establish the main conflict. So, to me, the secret big bad of it all, I mean, Jinx is obviously the biggest focal point, but I feel like Singe is the secret, like, bad guy. Like, no, Singe is off everybody's radar right now, and that seems like a very bad thing.
Almost nobody knew about him except for Silco.
Yeah, Silco's the only one that knew about Singe, and he's there doing these crazy experiments that seem like a big problem, and nobody's paying any attention to him or asking where he is or even know who he is. And I feel like he's going to come in when we're like, oh, Jinx is our biggest problem. Actually, no, it's this guy who's been dismantling wolves. But yeah, next week's episode is going to be the end of Act 1, and I'm sure nothing bad will happen at all, but I really like it. The only thing I was going to say that I would change about the episode is that Victor's departure from Jayce at first seemed really abrupt, but then when you think about it, and as he's going along the episode, I'm glad they immediately brought him back in this episode to see what he was doing. Because it's like, no, Victor was like, I can't stay here. This is a bad scene. And if my powers I have inside of me react and you're like, I want to be away from you to do that. So now it makes a lot more sense. And I'm okay with it. So, yeah. Yeah. But, all right. Well, thank you, Broseph, for watching with me. And I hope you all have a wonderful week. I'm excited to hear your comments down below, but we'll be back next week for episode 3 of season 2 of Arcane. Bye, y'all!